Hey everybody, welcome. I've got a really cool update for the Lightmagic Studio. So I've got a number of things in the scene here, and I've got a camera, I've got empty, got a cube, the bounce card, and a torus. Okay, got a few things. So if I pull in to the camera view, what you have now is a focus camera. Okay, and this is my live creation screen where I go in, and make all those add-on modifications that I need to make certain adjustments. Okay, and so I've added in the focus camera, and I added a couple of other cool things too. So if you were to click the plane, and by chance there was an array modifier on the plane, you would know. If you were on the empty and you had a constraint, track to, you'll know there's a track to. Now, if you're down here in the Light Manager, I added the same thing down here. And also really cool, you can actually come in here, and let me just go down to the Light Manager, and you can grab any light in the scene, right, and move that around and find it. See, it's all down here inside of the mesh. And so one of those things I like to do is find the empty by using my create folder section here. So you just go ahead and add all of those empties to one folder, grab all mesh objects, add them to a folder. Very quick, very simple, very good way to clean up the scene. But I like to grab the empty this way because it's very difficult to not have that. So with an active camera in the scene, I can click the focus camera, and it's going to grab the closest object now and put it in for the depth of field object. And if I press 7 for the orthographic, it doesn't seem like it would be the closest object, but it certainly is. And it's going to calculate that and figure that out for you according to the camera view. Now, if you happen to have a mesh object just slightly in the camera view and you click focus, then it may or may not grab it. But if it's definitely all the way in the focus here, it's going to pick it up. Okay, and then you'll have your focus object there. And yes, it does pick up empties. It picks up mesh objects as well. But that kind of leaves a little bit of room for error if you accidentally have something kind of just barely poking in. But on some instances, it will actually grab it. But here it's grabbing the empty. If I move the empty back, it's going to grab the cube. If I move the cube back and hit focus object, it's going to grab my plane. Very cool. So that is the new update. Also, if you guys are interested potentially in creating your own add-ons, I can go over some of the intricacies of making an add-on, and you can use some scripts, some pre-made scripts, throw them in here. You really will need to have a tutorial and figure out how to go through the node graphs. And if you know Python, this would be very easy for you to get into. And so like here, I take an index collection property, a built-in Serpents property collection. And what we're doing is we're building collection properties. That's what this is right here. These store data. So like when I grab the light, I can add a property to that and bring it over and add it again, and then I can switch between these properties. And this is in the Lightmagic add-on. It works with light color as well. So if I go ahead and change this to purple and add that in, then it goes back and forth, and I can change tons of different things. And I think I even did the radius. Let me see here. If I add another property, you could just rename all these to -4, whatever, so you can keep track of it. Yeah, it does the radius, the color, the location, rotation, all kinds of stuff for all the objects in the scene. And it's cool because you can achieve that through custom properties that are set by Blender properties, like the energy value for the lights, and that cycles through, and then the color value, the rotation value, soft shadow size, which is actually the radius. I know I'm probably boring some people, but the size here, and then spot size. And so there's some different things. And then there's some if-else statements in here to kind of like say, hey, don't grab for these properties unless it's a mesh. Don't grab for these properties unless it's a camera. and so on. Yeah, so if you guys are interested, I'll go over some of that, and I'll just show you how I do this. So once I've got this all fine and good, I like to create a little save point because I can always fix errors, but I'll do a Shift-R recompile, and it compiles successfully. So, and I put a lot of effort into this add-on, like blood, sweat, and tears, to make sure that it doesn't have a lot of errors, or any errors for that matter, because it had plenty as you're developing. So now I can click Save Add-on. Mr. Steve is the author. That's me. It's LM Studio 5. This is iteration 5.6, and it works from a minimum Blender of 2.93 and up. And then I can just click Save Add-on and do a nice little export, and you'll get this little number box here because it's saving the add-on. It's exporting, not necessarily like a one-for-one in the Python code, but it's exporting, it's putting my init files in, my initiation files, and it's creating a zip folder. And so you just don't touch it till it's done. It didn't show the pop-up, but I guess I could save it again real quick because I moved the mouse. So I just won't move the mouse. I'll give it a second. And up in the top right corner of the Serpens area here for the Serpens graphs, yeah, there we go. So once you make an add-on, you can actually you can export it, sell it. You can export it and give it away free on the market. All kind of different things, whatever you want to do. And now that I've got that, I can come back over here where I had my original setup, and it wasn't working with certain objects in the scene. So I had to go back and rework it. But if I just go ahead and go back into the install, I have my 5.56 in here, and it's a zip folder, and it's made specifically for Blender. Okay, so boom, here we go. And now I've got the focus object and all that cool stuff. So if I have a camera in the scene and click focus object, I'll get sphere. And I had all these named because it's a much cleaner tutorial version, but fair, I take you guys into the dev mode right there, you know? And so if I come over here, sphere 002 should be the one we grab. If I spread this a little bit, sphere 002. Now if I come over here and use that awesome pie menu I made, which is Alt-L, active to view, focus object, boom. And it's just grabbing the closest object, which is going to make your life a lot easier. And then, of course, if something in here has a modifier or whatever, and it only works with modifiers or constraints, but if it has a modifier on it, you'll see that. So it may dictate how you do what you do. You may have forgot there was a modifier and all that good stuff. All right. Really appreciate you guys watching. That's the end of this. Really cool. Go pick up the add-ons on Blender Market. It's on Gumroad. I'll put links down below. There's a trial version which has the light manager and the exposure global illumination settings on there for you. And that's it. See you guys in the next one.